What's up, y'all? Spider here. Apologies, you're going to be hearing the AC on. It's pretty warm outside, so gotta bear with me there. But I want to do a quick comparison before I do a comparison between the Sony XM4s and the tone-free the tone FP8s. I want to do it between the Beats Studio Buds and obviously the tone FP8s here. Obviously, I have the tones connected to the V60. I have the Beats connected to the iPad Pro M1 here, and for the best possible compatibility, I guess, even though these work very well, almost pretty much as good as it does on iOS on Android. So there's really no difference. There's really no problems you're gonna have here. And I've always said that when I first initially reviewed these buds, that if you wanted AirPods Pro but wanted full compatibility with Android, the Beats Studio Buds is probably your best bet. And I still pretty much feel that way. So let's get into this here. I got these for $150, and these start at $150. I think now they're back up to their original price of $180, which personally, I don't necessarily know if I agree with that price, but for specific things like sound and how good the overall noise cancellation is, in my opinion, and things like that, I do want to touch on what I feel the FP8s do very well, and why I feel like even at $180, a $30 difference is whatever. And we'll get into it here. So with these, obviously you open them, with both of them, obviously you open them up and they start pairing. These obviously pair to my iPad. These pair to the V60. And you'll see it pop up here in a second. On the V60. Maybe. It takes a bit sometimes. There you go. While my dog decides to get up. But yeah, they paired on the V60 there. And no problems with pairing, no problems with disconnecting, none of those issues there. Obviously, both of these have AAC, SBC. This has Bluetooth 5.2. I believe this has Bluetooth 5.2. I don't remember. But regardless, you have good connections, no problem. These definitely will do better with battery life. Get up to, I can literally go all throughout my work shift to the end of it and still have like 20% of the battery left, compared to, I think I had to charge these, I believe I had to charge these right before my first break, my lunch break. So not terrible, but at the same time, comparing both, I can keep the left earbud in my ear for far longer than I can with these. And to me, that's nice. A bit closer to the XM4s, but not nearly as much, which I'll get into when I talk about those two separately. But yeah, in terms of cases, I do like the pill-like case that the Beats Studio Buds have. It's quite unique. You can kind of see some haloing effect around the B there on the S21 Ultra here. Give me a second. Okay, there's really nothing I could do about that. I thought there was something on the lens, but I guess not. The only problem that I have with this case is that there's no wireless charging. I believe there'd be plenty of room to have it, but nonetheless, it's fine. You do have USB-C. This does have fast charging, so even though you do have to plug it in, you're not going to be plugging it in for that long. And I think every 5 minutes you have the earbuds in the case, you get an hour's worth of usage back onto it. Same with these, you get an hour's worth of use back onto it every 5 minutes you put it in the case, up to 10 hours of usage at like 50-60% volume, which is quite nice. In terms of overall loudness, I feel like both are quite good. The weird thing about the tone freeze is that it might be a bug, but their 50% volume is quite quiet. I feel like it's a bug that they might have to iron out in software, because the moment you go to max volume, it's very loud. And it's not piercing loud. It's not loud to the point where it gets sibilant or things start distorting. So that's totally fine. But I do feel like they need to tune that a little bit more, because once you're at 50%, it's basically, it sounds like it's at 20%. I don't know what's going on there, but nonetheless, they sound good regardless, and I don't really have any sort of issues with that. Whereas these, the problem that I'm having on the iPad Pro is that they don't seem to want to stay in noise canceling. They just don't seem like they want to stay into noise canceling mode. They'll go into transparency mode. They'll turn completely off. I'll probably show you guys here real quick what I mean, just so you guys can know. But yeah, so let's get into this here. So I swipe this down, open the Beats Studio buds. Let me take both of them out so that they actually show, so that they'll actually show that they're noise canceling. Go here. You see noise control off? Well, damn. See noise control off there? So I press, sorry, it's so hard to do when I'm looking at the screen. As you guys can see right there, it goes right back to off. Whereas I go into transparency mode. Okay, what the hell? I don't know what's going on. But irregardless, when noise canceling does work on these, the noise canceling is quite good. I'd say they might be slightly below the AirPods Pro. I understand that Apple doesn't want their flagship earbuds to be outclassed by earbuds that come at half the, well, not $100 less. So I understand why they're like, okay, you can't you can't have the noise canceling be as good as the AirPods Pro, but I believe they're slightly below. Not much feedback from either of these. I will say initially you'll have like maybe 5 seconds of feedback on the FP8s here, where you'll hear a little bit of white noise, but the moment you adjust them in your ear a little bit more, or you just let them sit in your ear a little bit more, the feedback goes away. And the noise canceling on these, I do feel like come a tad bit below the XM4s. Like, there are certain things the XM4s do better at in terms of canceling out noise. But I do feel like when I'm comparing both of these, the FP8s do quite a bit better job at canceling out noise than the Beats Studio buds. Also, comfort. These are far more comfortable, as you guys probably saw there. They're more styled to be more like look more like the AirPods Pro, whereas these are more IEM looking. And the problem that I have with these in terms of the design is that this sticks out quite a bit. So it just doesn't look all that great to me, and it feels a little bit uncomfortable. But nonetheless, it's totally fine. This is very hard to do with just one. All right, sorry, I had to do something on Uber real quick, but yeah, in terms of the look to the earbuds, I do like the look overall. It's just that, and I didn't put the damn earbud back in. But I feel like they jet out a bit too much to the point where it's kind of uncomfortable. Whereas I feel like the FP8s sit in the ear quite comfortably. And obviously that's going to depend on you. I wouldn't necessarily say that's an objective, every universal thing at all. It's just me personally. But when I do get these in my ear, they stay in, no real problems with that. I just feel like they could have made it to where these weren't so elongated. Like, I feel like if they did that, I would have liked these a tad bit more. But yeah, nonetheless, still a great pair overall. And in terms of things like the ambient mode, I do feel like the tone freeze edged that out a little bit more too. Voices sound, my voice in particular sounds digital on both, whereas the voices of people as well sound a little bit digitized on the studio buds here, whereas the voice of everybody else and the surrounding noises sound natural on the FP8. If I were to say one thing that both can definitely benefit from is tuning with that a little bit more. But if you just want to focus on people around you, not necessarily your voice, I do feel like the FP8 is definitely the better choice because it gives you a more natural representation of how people sound and how other sounds around you sound. So that's totally nice. Call quality. When I was using both, people have said that I sounded nice and clear. I do feel like the FP8 needs some improvements with the next iteration, where I do feel like they need to make it so that your voice in particular doesn't sound too digitized. What was that? Sorry. There was a bit too much, voice sounded a little bit too digital for my liking on the FP8. But to be honest, it's not really that big of a sticking point for me personally, since I don't really talk on the phone anyway. So it's honestly not that big of a deal. But overall, I do feel like both of them will fare you fine. These cut out background noises very well. I don't really remember in terms of the beats, but in terms of the FP8s, they do quite a good job at doing that and keeping your voice intact, whereas I feel the XM4s, for example, try to do that, but the moment you start talking for a longer period of time, you start hearing that background noise trickle in under your voice, whereas I don't have that issue with the FP8s at all. Let's talk about sound. Both of these are bass cannons, I will say that, but they're bass cannons in different ways. I feel like Beats in the past has been known for that kind of bass cannon-y feel, and Beats of old will definitely are definitely notorious of that. Are you fucking kidding me? I feel like Beats did quite a good job at making sure that they add bass depending on the song more than just adding bass whenever, right? That used to be kind of the issue with Beats in the past, was that their sound signature used to be very V-shaped. So it used to be like a lot of bass, and you couldn't really hear any of the other sounds, whereas now it gives you a good amount of bass while also giving you a little bit more treble, a little bit more vocals and things like that in a better way. I do feel like they're like a more bass heavy version of the XM4. And that's both good and bad. It's good because if you wanted more bass and you don't necessarily care about the world-class leading noise cancellation that the XM4s give you, I'd say go with the Beats Studio Buds. But if you want to go with Jesus, what am I trying to say? If you want to go with that and you want a more malleable kind of headphone, then I would go with the XM4. But why I say that's kind of a bad thing is because they have this kind of warmth to them, to where sometimes vocals sound a little bit, it's kind of odd, where they sound a little bit muffled, and S, A, and E sounds can get a little bit more sibilant, and it's kind of weird because it kind of reminds me of both the Galaxy Buds 2 and the XM4s, where it kind of melds the good and not so good qualities. And to me, that's kind of a bummer, because then if you care about those things, and they kind of become this weird anomaly where I feel like if you wanted just bassier AirPods Pro, that's not necessarily what you're getting here. When it comes to the FP8s, I talked the FN7s to, the heavens, right? I've always talked about how the bass on those are very good. the overall sound signature, the clarity of the vocals and other instrumentations and whatnot is quite good on those as well. And they kind of carried that over to the FP8s here. But what they've done is they have this new bass thing where they call flex action bass. I guess it's a new custom driver that they're doing, where when you're listening to certain songs, man, and you compare them side by side with other headphones that are considered to have good bass, like I'd say the XM4s before I got these had good bass. I'd say even the Galaxy Buds 2 before I got these had good bass. Now the Galaxy Buds 2 sound quite flat. And the XM4 sound a little bit flat. And even these kind of did initially until I, looked into it a little bit more and started, changing between YouTube Music and Apple Music and seeing the differences between, the masters and all that stuff. And, I would still give the edge to the FP8s in terms of bass because it gives you a deep, hard-hitting bass. It can give you sub-bass and can give you pretty much any kind of bass. But it doesn't make vocals sound... It doesn't make you lose any sort of the other qualities of a song that make that song hit you, right? Say Bad by Wale, for example, right? Where there's a lot of different, that hard-hitting bass at the beginning of the song, you'll feel that, right? And then when you hear when you're in the second verse and you can kind of hear the whisper of the girl singing the hook very low, you can hear it a little bit, right? You can hear that you can hear that better on here than you can on here. Even with that bass, typically when you get a lot of bass with headphones, that just goes away. And that doesn't seem to happen when it comes to the FP8 at all. And I don't necessarily feel like it's very good just for hip hop or rap. I feel like it's also good for things. I also tested the Doom Eternal soundtrack as well in Doom 2016. I tested Vega Core, which is another track that has a lot of like that, hard hitting bass as well as The Only Thing They Fear Is You. That's from the Doom Eternal soundtrack, whereas Vega Core is from Doom 2016. And both of those sound great on the FP8. I really have no issues with that whatsoever. Another song, For the Love of Money, by which is from the Compton album by Dr. Dre. That's another one which has very hard-hitting, very satisfying bass. And both of these do very well with that. And I still would just give the slight edge to this because the vocals just sound better and not sibilant at all. But overall, I do feel like both of these do quite a good job. And if you don't care about the sibilants, I would say go with these. If you don't care and you just want beats and you really do want to hear how these sound, I would definitely go with them. But for me personally, I do feel the FP8s just do quite better. And, that's all I really got to say about that. These obviously have an app. These do as well as once you're on Android. But the app on this is far more feature-packed. You get 2 different custom EQ settings. You get to customize your controls. These have touch controls, whereas these have button. These I feel are far more, these have a gaming mode, so they're far more feature-packed as well. So I would, if you want something like a gaming mode, and you want more customization, I would definitely go with these. And you want better battery life, you want deeper, more hard-hitting bass, especially if you're a hip-hop head like I am. I would definitely go with the FP8s. Though I would say that the Beat Studio Buds definitely aren't a bad alternative. I will say that. And you don't necessarily have to have an iPhone or an iPad to have these work with your phone. They'll work with your Android phone, no problem. And they do have Google Fast Pair. There are times where I open these up and it'll pop up on here and show you the battery life. I'll try and show you guys that here real quick. Oh no, not that. As you guys can see right there, the Beat Studio buttons come up. And apologies, it looked quite terrible, but my screen was mad bright. So yeah, that's all I really gotta say about this though. You can go with either or, and I do feel like both of them do a very good job at giving you. They do a good job at giving me what I want. So who knows, if you're like me and you like the kind of music I like, it may give you that same sort of feeling. This is Sparta. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for support. Hope you guys have a wonderful Monday or whatever time of day it is in your area. Have a good one.